So, obviously this is your senior season at Ashland, NCAA Division II team. You guys were actually out in South Dakota, weren't you?
Yeah, we were there, and we had already had 2 practices. Some of us had 3.
Wow. It depends who had pride to cut weight, right?
Yeah, I had 2, and I had just done my last weight cut. I was right on weight, basically, when I got the news.
Okay. So you qualified 2 years ago and didn't qualify last year for nationals, right?
Yeah, I qualified my freshman year also.
Oh, so you're a 3-time qualifier.
Yeah.
So this is the 5th year, and the first thing, what was going through your head? What'd your coaches say to you after you found out?
Well, it was kind of weird because I came to my coach's room to pick up the wristbands because we had been limited to just family. So I was there to pick up my wristbands because he just got back from the coaches meeting. And I was like, well, that's a good sign. I see wristbands. That means that we're probably going tomorrow. He was like, well, don't get crazy yet because we still don't know. And I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden, our athletic trainer walks in the room, and she says, you need to check your email right now. And that was the cancellation email. And then we got a call from the NCAA. And she was upset because she knows all of us, and that was just a rough deal, yeah. That's basically how I found out. We had just gotten done with a workout at 10 a.m. I think this was around, I want to say like 3.
Okay. So next morning, 10 a.m. whistle? Would it have been next morning, 10 a.m. whistle?
I think, yeah, it was 11 a.m. It was 9 a.m. weigh-ins, 11 a.m. whistle.
Yep. Okay. So we're under 24 hours from the tournament starting.
Oh, yeah. It was ready to go.
Yeah, man, that's so wild. And you guys are a 2-day NCAA championship, right?
Yep, 2 days.
Whereas D1's a 3-day, and I haven't figured this out yet. Is D3 a 3-day?
I don't know. I think it was at one point. I'm not 100% sure that it is.
I got to find a D3 guy to talk to because I think it's a 3-day, but I'm just ignorant. I don't know. I got to find that out because
I mean, either way, they were all within 24 hours of starting, or
they were. Yeah, right. I think they were right near first whistle, dude. I want to say that, but I mean, I've been wrong before. But Ashland's a great college, private school in Ohio. How many students do you guys have at Ashland?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't even know. Maybe
2,000 or 3,000.
It's got to be in the low thousands, I would say.
Okay.
Because I mean, in my classroom, I would say that the max I've ever had was like 40 people in a class.
Okay, so yeah, it's a small private school then. So, and your coach came from Colorado School of Mines, right?
Yep.
He's a pretty good guy. I asked him why he did that.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and he's told me so much about Colorado. I didn't know coming out that how beautiful Colorado was.
Are you joking? Yeah, it's crazy.
I've never been.
It's crazy. You got to go.
Yeah, I gotta go.
They actually have they had an assistant coaching opening at Colorado School of Mines. So maybe look into that.
Oh.
What is your major, by the way, Chandler?
Sport management.
Sport management.
With a coaching minor.
Okay, so that's something where it would be right up your alley, right?
Yeah, actually, next year, unless I get a 6th year, which I don't see really happening, but I got hired as an assistant for next year to be at Ashland.
Oh, awesome, man. So you're going to be back at Ashland one way or another.
One way or another. So if I get a 6th year, that's great. We'll figure it out. We'll do whatever wrestling we have to do. If I don't, I'll just go jump right into coaching.
You went to Bloom Carroll High School, right? Is that it?
Yeah, and I did my senior year at Pickerington North.
So you're at Pickerington North. Okay. So is Laney from Pickerington North?
Yeah, he graduated we both transferred there our senior year.
Okay. So you and Laney, and then how many times did you place in the state tournament?
3. I didn't qualify my senior year.
Didn't qualify because Division I. What's Bloom Carroll?
They were D3 my freshman year, D3 my sophomore year, and D2 my junior year. What
were your placements in D? So you wrestled potentially in all 3 division state tournaments, right? Like you wrestled in the qualification process for Division I, right?
Yeah. So I wrestled in all 3 divisions. Yeah, I guess.
No, you did. You did. Right?
Yeah.
What were your placements?
If I would have made it to the state tournament my senior year, I would have I would have been a qualifier in all 3 divisions.
Okay, what'd you place as a freshman, sophomore, junior?
I got 7th all 3 years.
You were 7th all 3 years?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought you were 6th one year for some reason.
No, it would have been nice to get up on the podium a little bit, but made me a better wrestler, I guess, in college. Drove me more.
Okay, so here's the big thing I have with you, man. You've had way more devastating stuff in your life happen than a tournament getting canceled, right? And talking to you about, you lost your brother. How old was your brother when you lost him?
He was 27.
27, and he was a state placer
and
for
I was right around 21.
21, and he went to Fairfield Union.
3-time state placer.
Fairfield Union.
Fairfield Union. It's right down the road from Carroll.
Yeah, so he was a 3-time state placer at Fairfield Union. Tougher than nails. You lose your brother, and what were the circumstances you lose your brother under?
Well, he died of an overdose. He thought he was taking heroin, and it was actually straight fentanyl, and just died right there. I mean, I wasn't there. I was at school, and my dad called me. And I didn't see the scene. We did a closed casket. I have nothing really. I don't know what he looked like, but I've heard bad things from my sister about how he looked. It was pretty messed up.
And that's who you grew up, looking up to. He's a 3-time state placer. You're a 3-time state placer, but you're trying to model yourself after your brother, right?
Yeah, for sure. Tried to model myself after him. I mean, I shared a room with him. We had bunk beds as kids. We had to share the same bed plenty of times too on road trips. He taught me quite a bit. All the time we were always going to the same club practices in Columbus. We always went to Burnett's together where we would see you, and you would drive us into the ground in the run in the apple orchard.
At Pie Crafts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh man, you guys.
I'll never miss that apple orchard, I don't think.
The Stever brothers hate me pretty bad for that too. That whole thing, yeah, man, it's crazy. And I remember your brother from camp, man. It's just so wild. But so you have a much greater perspective on this. And I'm not trying to downplay, how guys have put their lives into it, but you have suffered so much of a greater loss. And you've had a greater understanding that life's really not fair.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had my brother stripped from me, and we had a lot of days left together. So like when I look at this tournament being canceled from me, like I'm devastated. Obviously, like I had one more chance to wrestle. I don't get that last chance to know, like when I'm going into that match, like this could be my last match. I don't really get that, but it's when you look at it as a general thing, it's to protect our health, all kinds of other stuff. There's a lot of more things that go into it, but when you look at losing your brother compared to losing a tournament when you've got the rest of your life ahead of you still, it really is kind of downplay for sure.
It's just no comparison for me.
Oh, no comparison. That's what I meant. Like not downplay, but definitely no comparison. Like the devastation I felt when I lost my brother was huge. Like this was minor compared to that for sure.
And
you obviously I was very upset.
Yeah, and you move forward from that, and there's probably stuff where you got to go talk to people and talk to your family members and help them out with it. How do you move forward from this, and do you feel like I'm prepared for this? I'm prepared. I've already been through a much worse thing. I'm so very prepared for this.
Yeah, that's one of the things with I have a really great mom. She's prepared for anything just because like with her work she's always worked with people like where she's always preparing for the worst. So like I've learned really well with like it's like a bad thing, I guess. I am prepared for the worst to happen at all moments. Like I can take it and I can think about it and I can process it and I can not overreact, I guess you could say.
In that situation, you were at Ashland when they called you with the news for that, right?
Yeah, I was in my dorm room, yeah.
So
I just got back from a practice.
So it's like one of those things where right where you were, right?
Yeah, I remember exactly where I was when my dad told me.
Yeah, no comparison to going to get the coaching wristbands and, hey, this is canceled. You really can't compare.
Yeah, I'll never forget that either, probably, but it's definitely no comparison. I really never thought about it till we like are starting the interview, like, yeah, this is nothing compared to that. But for sure.
Colin Moore talked about perspective, and I think this is the perspective he's talking about. You have a very different point of view of this compared to everybody else.
Yeah, I definitely have a different point of view. I wanted to wrestle for sure. It really sucks. I'm pretty upset about not being able to wrestle my final matches, but I'm never going to be an All-American. But when you think of it as like you had that taken away from you, there's probably somebody else out there, probably on the same day that they lost a loved one from this coronavirus. Now, I don't know anybody personally, but I'm sure it happens somewhere.
It's ramping up in Ohio, man. We are really ramping it up. I'm probably, potentially on the cusp of missing an entire school year, because I teach. What has Ashland done? Or are you guys done there at Ashland?
Well, in Ashland right now, we are closed until the 30th.
Of March. Of March?
The March 30th.
March 30th, okay.
Yeah, I think we're closed until the 30th. I'm assuming we're probably going to close for the rest of the semester, just like Kent and Ohio State have done.
Akron, I think Ohio U, I think a lot of them are.
Bowling Green. We're next.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're just holding out a little while.
And I'm hearing, I heard Mike DeWine talk today on CNN. He's our governor.
Yeah.
I'm hearing maybe potentially.
He closed the bars and everything else.
Bars, yeah. Bars, you can only go, restaurants, bars are only takeout. And other thing is, I'm hearing interstate travel, borders of states potentially. I'm hearing that's really next. And we're on a trajectory towards like what Italy's at right now.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
That's crazy because I'm going to see my fiance in Indiana tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you might want to go tomorrow or even tonight after we're done here. When did you get engaged?
Yeah. I got engaged 2 years ago. I got engaged in August, right before last wrestling season.
You've been engaged for 2 years, dude?
Yeah.
When you get married?
Before anybody else could.
When you get married?
Well, we made a deal because I proposed, like, it wasn't like a premature thing. Like, I knew I wanted to get married. I was down for whatever she wanted to do, but she wants me to finish all of my schooling. So we're just going to wait till then, and we're trying to save up so our parents don't have to pay any money.
Dude, I want you to be one of my kids, man. You like get it. You really get it. My kids are 2 and 4. Maybe they'll get it too, but
yeah, you got time.
I got time. Time is not on my side, but it is. It is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
What did mom and dad say to you? What are family members saying to you after something tough like this happens?
My mom, honestly, because she knows a lot of loss, because she's dealt with a lot in her life, she just gave me a hug, and because I was crying, I was upset. She just said, "This sucks," and I know it sucks. And she's like, "It's going to be okay." That's all they could really say. My dad, he's been in wrestling. He was the reason my family started wrestling. He told me that this was his 39th year of wrestling. So he was just like, they're just proud of me. That's about it. I mean, there was nothing they really could say that would change anything, I guess. They're just really proud of me, and I'm really thankful for them and my coaches, all of them, for reaching out to me.
All right, let's just go. Let's go alternative reality here. Let's just say they grant the 6th year. They grant the 6th year. Are you jumping at it?
Yeah, I think I would have to do like a pitch count, because I got pretty banged up over the past 2 years. I'll definitely have to do a pitch count, I feel like. But other than that, I would definitely jump at it, because I would really like to have my chance to be a national champ or an All-American.
That's what I like to hear. The Burnett's, do they make them better than the Burnett brothers?
No, nobody's better than Bernie or Scotty. Nobody's better than those guys. Best people around.
Is there a
funnier
set of brothers?
Ooh, a funnier set of brothers. I went to high school with some twins that were pretty funny, but I don't think that they're funnier than...
Dude, these guys are nuts, aren't they?
Bernie's the relaxed guy, and then you got Scotty, who's like the super energy charged guy, and they just clash, and it's perfect.
It's so awesome. Oh, man. And, man, I've got to watch you grow up. And that's the best thing about this. Like, I talk to you guys. I got to watch you as a kid, and you've always just been so respectful. I remember your dad came with the allergic reaction to camp to pick you guys up.
He had allergic reaction?
Yeah, his lip was, like, huge.
Oh, yeah.
Shellfish or something. What was it?
I do remember when that happened. That was crazy.
I was like, dude, is he okay? Yeah, just an allergic reaction. You remember that?
Yeah, I not really well, but I do remember his lip being huge.
Huge.
I don't remember what it was from, though.
It was an allergic reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't get punched in the lip.
From what?
Yeah, he didn't get punched in the lip. You got to ask him. What do you think the biggest thing you're going to take from all this wrestling you've done, this experience, the family? What do you think the biggest thing you've wanted to get out of this is? You're not, most likely, we're probably not going to see you get another chance at this. What's the greatest thing you've taken from this? What's the greatest memory, lesson, character, whatever it's done for you, Chandler? What do you think the greatest thing is?
I would say it's built me as a person. That's like the reason I am the person I am. Like you say, I'm a very respectful person. It's all because of wrestling, and that's why I thank wrestling so much, because it's shaped me as a person. It's shaped me as a human being, like how I act around people, how I address certain situations, how I attack life. That's probably the best thing, is just the sport, what it's given me, and how my parents have pushed me through it. Because there was times when it got tough and I didn't want to do it anymore.
When I see you and I can just talk to you, man, I always try and take the time. And I don't know if you've ever noticed that. I'm always super busy, man, when you see me. You
are. You got a lot going on. You got Defense Soap. You got your own job. You got Barbarian Apparel. You're doing film for all these different stuff. That's why I love it. And I always try to reach out and help you out if I can.
Yeah, but when I see you, I'm always like, dude, I got to go talk to that guy. I always feel like it's like one of these awesome obligations to have when you see great people like you. It's like, dude, that guy's the man. I gotta go talk to him. Hopefully you've always felt like you've felt that. Hopefully you've always felt like, he's snubbing me or not. Hopefully you've never felt that he's not snubbing me.
Because you always at least try to say hi, because I know you're busy.
Dude, it's like it's whirlwind, man.
You were actually at Michigan State. It was my first ever college tournament. And right before my first college match, you came up to me and you were like, "You are making me feel old. I can't believe you are in college now."
Oh, my God.
I remember when you were a munchkin is what you told me.
Oh, I do, man. What great memories that, having you and your brother at camp and your dad showing up with his big fat lip and running you guys through the orchard. And you were at both facilities when we worked at Burnett's. You were at the new one, and that's where you work now. Will you continue to work for those guys?
Absolutely. I will, as long as I am around, I will try to work for Coach Burnett. I want to give back to him more than anybody. He's done too much for this sport. He's done too much for me to not do it.
Dude, I remember seeing you at the freaking, because Kramer was one of your teammates then.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Time flies, man. It just blows my mind, dude. What do you think, if there's something that you're most proud of or you want your brother to be most proud of, what do you think is your most proud moment in the sport of wrestling is?
I would probably say my most proud moment is probably when I qualified for nationals my freshman year. I actually, because I'm sure you know about this, I got the true fourth match when I was a freshman.
Okay.
And I beat the kid. He was ranked top 5 in the country, and he got 4th in our region. And then I got the true fourth match.
And he hadn't beat you previously in the tournament. That's how the true fourth, true second. That's how those true sixth, true eighth. There's all okay.
Yeah, and I got the true fourth match and I won.
Who'd you beat?
And that's probably
who'd you beat?
I beat a kid named Derek Nelson. He's actually the head coach at Coker now.
Are you serious?
Beat Derek Nelson. He was a transfer from University of Pittsburgh, and I beat him. I think I almost majored him. I held him on his back for the entire third period.
What school was he from?
Coker.
He was from Coker. Now he's the head coach at Coker.
Yep.
Okay. Dude, how they do your guys' region, I really dislike it. It's like they put all the loaded teams together. I don't understand it.
Yeah, there's so many good teams in certain regions, and it's lopsided in certain ways, but you can look at it and, they want equal representation from all the different schools of the area. So I understand what the NCAA is thinking with money-wise.
Yeah, I get it. You got to spread it out.
Yeah.
It's got to be equitable. But it's
Yeah.
really not equitable to the best programs.
If only they did that for Division I, too.
Nice.
I mean, think of how many Big Ten guys wouldn't get in, because Big Ten's like
It would,
all
yes.
these schools, right?
Yeah, it would be egregious. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, man. What's next for you? Give me your next. We don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. You don't know what you're gonna do. Nobody knows what we're gonna do. What do you see the next 3 months of our lives?
I was confused on what I was gonna do for the last few days, but as of right now, I'm just gonna focus on my master's, getting school done, and I currently do an internship for my coach, which basically is going to lead right into my coaching position.
It doesn't sound like you're going to be doing much for your internship.
Yeah, I'm doing all online. We're trying to set up a recruiting brochure, and then we're going to try to set up some sort of a prospect camp. So that's my job.
Okay. You got to let me know on that. If I can help out, I'll try and help out. If it makes sense and I can get my partners to pitch in and help out, that's something I'm trying to get into now. More and more, if I can help you guys out, I'll try and help you out. So, do you got? First off, we're gonna cut the interview here soon. Is there anything else you got to me before we're done here tonight?
Not really. I mean, I just want to thank my coaches and my parents in wrestling for what it's done for me, and thank you, Zeb, for everything you do for wrestling. Because of people like you that grow, our sport's been growing over the past. I don't know. I've seen growth in the past 5 years. It's people, media, and guys are getting the word out there about wrestling that grow this sport, and I love it.
Being a D2 guy, do you ever feel like some media slights you guys and that maybe it's not, I don't know if it's probably not personal, but do you ever feel that when you go to a D2, like sometimes you guys don't get it, like obviously the higher level D1 guys get it, right?
Yeah, I feel that way sometimes, but I wouldn't say it makes me angry. It's just I understand that those big schools make the big money, and that's why they're the big schools. But D2, I mean, we've got some of the best competitors, bar none. I mean, we've had Olympians, we've had.
I don't know, the UFC champ right now at 170 pounds, Usman. He won. Yeah. He won the NCAAs for UNK. Did you know that he won it for Kearney?
Yeah, I remember somebody telling me about that. I didn't know until he had already won UFC, but somebody did tell me he was a DT.
I think Garbrandt went to Newberry for a cup of coffee at least.
Yeah, he was there for a little while.
Yeah, I mean...
One of the Garbrandts actually went to Ashland, too.
Yeah, that was Zach. Yeah, so, I mean, dude, it's just insane how tough some of the guys are. I mean, it's the,
Think about how many don't survive in D2 as well.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at it, I was talking to Coach John Hange from Ryder, and he was like, I was talking about, Stipe. Stipe qualified for the Nationals, the NCAAs for Cleveland State.
Yeah.
And NCAA wrestling, I don't care what your level is, it's the breeding ground for the toughest guys on the planet.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean,
it's not really a debate. Look at who the champs have been. And look at what level they made it at, whether it was D2, D1, D2. I think John Jones is a JUCO national champ. I mean, come on. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. So wild stuff. So hey, stick around after the call. I'm gonna cut the live video off. But man, I just appreciate you. I appreciate seeing you. Love seeing you since you've been a little ankle biter, and I've tortured you guys doing sprints up and down in the Pie Crafts Apple Orchard at Burnett's training camp. Awesome camp, great memories, awesome. Dude, I love it when you bring stuff up like the Michigan State Open and what I said. Yeah, I'm glad. I just always want to make sure I'm positive to someone like you, and positive to everybody. Even if someone's a jerk, I still want to be positive to them. But thanks for sharing your story, man. I love it. Hang around here. I'm going to talk to you for a little bit after we're cutting the interview here. Chandler, thank you for the time. Good luck, buddy. Whether it's coaching, whether it's another year competition, I appreciate you. Thanks for the time. I'm going to cut this off, and we'll talk a little bit off camera. All right, buddy?
All righty.
Thanks, bud.